3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm done. I needed that. I hadn't eaten yesterday. I was getting grumpy.
So I made Fee breakfast and I started Megan's breakfast and I took her to school. I'm so hungry.
Have you eaten? Did you eat?
I have not eaten.
Oh shit, dude.
I'll be okay. No, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I got some.
Trust me, I've got enough in the stores to last me till I get home.
All right. I feel bad now. I just housed all that food.
Well, you needed to eat.
Yeah.
Don't not eat because I'm not eating.
You want an orange? There's some oranges back there.
Clementines. I love the orange. I think they're mandarins.
What's the difference between a clementine and a mandarin?
I think clementines are sweeter. That one certainly will. We'll see.
Then you take the skin off.
No, there's good fiber. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat this while
we're in it.
We're in it. Okay, cool.
This is.
Hey, bold. If you know the difference between a mandarin and a clementine, please feel free to leave in the comments.
You know, that makes me. Speaking of like the difference between similar things, I've decided. I tried to play piano. I tried to learn how to play piano. It didn't really stick, but I got a ukulele, and so I wanted to kind of learn how to play. So I take it everywhere I go, so that I have it. Right. And people are like, oh, are you learning, ask me, are you learning how to play an instrument? I say, yeah, I'm learning how to play a little guitar.
Play a little guitar. That's so funny. Yeah.
Because you get it? Because it's little and it's a ukulele.
It's a little tiny.
It's a little guitar.
As Fee would call it, a little tiny mouse guitar. Little tiny mouse guitar.
Just add
she just goes little tiny mouse. There's this little cottage that we drive by when we're going to my parents. She goes, it's a little tiny mouse house.
That's awesome. I was telling everyone about the so we were doing the sit to via, right? And it's the 9th day, and 9th day is Gisa Lang. So it's the 9th day of the 12 days of mobility.
Yeah.
The 9th. I was like, oh, what is the 9th day? And Shelly goes, it's Gisa Lang. And I go, oh, you mean like your sit up to via? Everyone laughed because I was like, fart noises are so funny. Let me tell you, Fiona has got it figured out. She talks to Alexis, and she told me the whole story on Sunday when she was out there with the rig with me. And she's like, I talk to Alexa and I tell Alexa to make wet fart noise. Alexa, make a wet fart. And then she made the fart noise. I was like, you, ma'am, are awesome.
She did her shark fart.
Oh, and that one too. Yeah.
She loves that one. She loves that one.
Oh, that girl. And then we all looked over and she was swimming in shock. I told somebody else, your face. It was like, have you ever heard the Louis C.K. skit about, or one of his routines about his sister-in-law or his sister and his nephew, and the idea of like, little boys break things, little girls, they just rip your heart out and eat it and destroy your soul. So he tells us about his nephew, they're in New York City, they're hanging out at the house, and his sister's over and she's exhausted, running around chasing this kid. She's got like 10 minutes of just like reprieve. And so he's made her this drink and she's about to just like enjoy it. And the little boy comes over and goes, Mommy, and throws sand in her drink. And he's like, I live in New York City. Where did he find sand? How? I don't even have how? And he said his sister just like melted. Like that was it. I just put it over there. When I watched it, I was like, oh, that's a lot of chalk. And I watched your whole body just go, oh.
She was sitting in it. It was as if she had taken the whole bucket just and then sat in it.
And I thought to myself, all right, I'm out of here.
Would you see too, like even after mopping it up, there's still like that streak in the back square?
I mopped it too. After I mopped it I mopped it Monday
still
morning.
There.
So I think it's chalk. And so that like you got to do hot water, no soap, then soap and water. But again, like whatever, it's clean. But that Ellen actually showed me that trick. If you apply any sort of cleaning solvent initially to chalk, it like turns it into a paste and it gets into the rubber.
Oh.
And so you actually just have to do hot water, wipe it off, then like do it again and then soap it. And I was like, oh, look at that. Way too much work. I'm just going to do this.
Well, that's so funny because like I mopped and I was like, okay, that looks good.
It
Like
did,
when it's wet, it looks good,
right,
and then
it
it's
dries.
So when I saw it the other day, I was like, oh, Jesus. Anyway,
and her that was why her big thing was sidewalk chalk, because everyone wants to use talcum, whatever that compound is, whatever. Yeah.
Is it talcum? I don't know.
No, I don't know. It's like two compounds that make salt. Again, hey, if you know
Sodium
what are the
chloride?
two? No, that's table salt.
Those are two molecules.
Elements, molecules.
So yeah, no, you're right.
Atoms.
Elements. Because when you put them together, they
electrons. Lamp. Anyway, they want to use that to draw on the ground with, and that's when she would lose her mind, because you can't wipe that out.
One of the times.
Yeah. And again, I also felt bad for her because now I get it. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. So anyway,
yeah.
There we go. Little flashback, a little walk down memory lane.
What's funny, Fee had taken out pancake mix today.
Oh,
and
fun.
Like I'd gone to the bathroom, came back in, she's sitting on the kitchen floor with pancake mix, just like she was with the chalk.
Oh God.
But she had it all over her.
Oh God.
And I was like, Fee, what are you doing? And she goes, I want to be dead like Anna. I was like, dead like Anna. Oh, in Frozen 1, when she gets the frozen heart, she freezes and becomes ice. So that's what she meant. But she goes, I want to be dead like Anna. I was like, oh, this is
too dark.
It's like cute and so dark at the same time. So anyway.
Have you guys has she seen Narnia yet? Any of them? Maybe still too young. When they're good though, but the second one with
I've never seen them.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're good. I mean, they're pretty well adapted from the C.S. Lewis books.
They made books out of
but the one with the ice witch is pretty cool. That might be the first one. I can't remember.
I think it's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Is that one?
That's the first one. But and that might be the one but I think it's the second one that has where they both have the ice witch, but I think the second one, it's much more involved. I can't remember. There's 3 of them. They're all
hey,
really
if you remember, leave in the comments.
You're seeing a theme here. Anyway, so what are we doing other than just sitting here rambling? Because
well,
unlike usual,
you all are listening to this, and as you're listening, it is even now.
Is that annoying?
I think that's actually soothing. 2020 is coming to a close. And so what do we usually do around this time of year on Grounds After Rounds at episode 146? 146?
Yeah, this will be 146, I think. Yeah.
Year in review.
Wah.
I have my button ready.
That's okay. Waiting.
Don't want the Bible app.
Waiting.
Year in review.
That's about right for 2020. Which I get it. Like, yes, it has been a tough year. Maybe it's my naivety, maybe it's my privilege, maybe it's my I don't know what it is. It has been a hard year, but at the same token, like, there's been so many good things.
Yeah.
Like, I love hanging out with my kids these days. They're all back home. No, they never left. Nicole was back home till the end of the year, till the end of the term, or this before they go on break for winter.
Right.
COVID kind of started to rear its ugly head in their school. No actual cases because of interaction within the school, but enough people started to get it that the director is like, we're done. Like, everyone go home. And then it's just virtual out. So it's just, she's back. So our schedules gets a little weird and the dogs get annoying because like Violet goes into must protect everyone mode. All of that, even with all of that, I came home today, very busy, all over the place. Maddie's in the gym working out. And at first I was like, God, this is why I made the home gym so I didn't have to fight. And
this was today?
Just now. Yeah, just now. And I asked him, I was like, how much longer are you going to be? He's like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most. And he's doing a little AMRAP. It was a good AMRAP. It was like some, I think, hang power clean and jerks, or maybe clean and jerks, bike. And like, it was really cool.
Was he doing today's beast workout?
Oh, possibly. What's today's?
It's a, so it's there's definitely, I can't think, it's squat cleans and then a run.
Yeah, maybe he was biking though. So
as many rounds, 12-minute AMRAP, 7. Oh yeah, 200-meter run, 7 hang power clean and jerks.
Yeah, so he's 400-meter biking, and then and he was hang clean and jerking, and so things like that. Things like I just randomly get to hang out with Josh or Andrew when they come down to eat. You know, like I wouldn't see them probably, but maybe for 5 to 10 minutes a day in a normal schedule, and I've gotten to see them for hours at a time and talk about things. And so that side of it, it has been really cool. And we'll talk about some of the stuff here that has been pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, even just our operations are better. Yeah. Well, anyway, so I think you could easily say, I am lucky that I have not lost anyone close to me directly because of COVID this year. Mm-hmm. And I am fully aware of, because of that, I can say, it hasn't been that bad. I know some people who have contracted it. I know somebody who's dealing with it right now, and it's no joke. And so like, I get that side of it. And I think maybe if I was saying, I don't know what my opinion would be if that was the case, but it's not. And so, yeah, I think, I don't think it's been quite such a farty year.
No. And it's funny. Point. Dunk and I were talking about that the other day where I, personally, like I know, when it comes to COVID, I know directly, and they're not even like in my group of like close circle of friends. I know 2 people that got it and like felt fine a few days later. Like they felt sick and a few days later. Right. No, I mean, that's and so I'm not, this is not me. This is not a commentary on COVID. This is I don't know anyone directly that has
been lucky. Yeah. And we have been like, I think we've done, well, and if you think about it, we've done what they've told us to do. Yeah. All the experts have said to do. So maybe there's something to what the experts are saying to do. My circle is the same 15 to 20 people all the time. Yeah. When I do go out, I am masked and it's quick in and outs and stuff. So, I mean, you too, like your circle's very small. And so anyway, sorry, I totally interrupted you.
No, it's fine. And it just, so like, I mean, I was talking to Duncan, I had a kid, so that's kind of awesome. Like it was an amazing experience. That's for sure. Like I said, I feel like as a gym, like you were kind of talking about it recently, how you don't really, I think this is one of our like off camera conversations, but like you have these hard times and you don't really, and then Taz was talking about it too. Like you don't really, you get through it, but there's so much more than just getting through it, because there's definitely gonna be something on the other end that then you're gonna have to get through again. And so you kind of like, you build this resiliency, you learn things from it. And then the next time something comes around, like maybe you're able to take something from that, so that even if it's a hard time, there's something you got out of the previous time that helps you get through it better. Yeah. And gets through it differently. And so I think this year is
traumatic growth. Yeah. What you just defined is the almost textbook definition. From trauma comes growth.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right. Like that's a cliche. I mean, it's hormesis is the physiological medical term. You're hermaphrodite, hormosis. You're a horse's ass.
Horse's mouth.
I think I've been drinking. What is in this coffee?
Decaf, apparently. But yeah, but I think it's like, I mean, too, like you and I this year, like it's been, as couples do, like you have your ups and downs, and you figure stuff out, and like you talk to each other and you have conversations and you come out better on the other end. And just like, I mean, Megan and I, like we have our tips. Like she got mad at me the other day because she's talking to me and she says, she goes, "You never listen to anything I say." And I just thought it was a really weird way to start a conversation. So
that was really, I was like, oh God, is he really gonna say something about them fighting? But I get it. That was really well done.
It's a weird way to start a conversation.
What's the flowers one? Did you tell that? We told that one.
Oh, it was Meg gets mad at me for saying I never get her flowers. I was like, I don't even know you sold flowers. That was
my wife says I'm really bad at 2 things or something. Listening and something else. I don't know.
Yeah. Listening. There's 2 types of people in this world. There's 2 types of people in this world. Those that make lists. And so anyway, as we go on.
That was a good little flurry. Well done. Well done.
But yeah, so anyway, like between that, I think the gym, we've made these adjustments to these things, and we still have a very strong crew going. And as frustrating as these lockdowns have been, like, we've adapted, and we can kind of curtail that into like what it meant from like the fitness side of it and stuff. But it's been this year, I'm not going to poo-poo on 2020. There's been, every year has this thing. Like 2 years ago, my mom had a stroke, and that year sucked, right? So like the entire holidays were spent in like a freaking rehab center.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, that stunk. And so like every year has its baggage.
So
it's just I feel like is a universally shared baggage.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I know what the one of the worst years Nicole and I ever had, or I've ever had. And even in that year, so many amazing things came out of it because of the challenges we had, was the 2005, started in about October, November of 2005 and went until October of 2006. And the reason being is I was working up for my second deployment. We were out of San Diego. Andrew was born already. He was a year and a half. Nicole was pregnant with twins, who we thought was just one. And we found out, the day we found out she was going to have the twins, I found out that what I thought was going to be like a February, March-ish deployment was getting moved up to a mid-December, maybe early January 2006 deployment. And I was going to go in a completely different place with a completely different unit for a completely different period of time. So what was probably just going to be like a 5 to 6 became a 9 to 10 month deployment. Oof. And so we found out twins October, November, things were moving up.
When you found out they were twins?
Like the 5 months, when it was the first sonogram. We go, oh no, I'm out. I'm in the high desert of California, and she is calling and calling and calling. And then I get back to where I actually get a signal, and I like, oh my God, you gotta call me. Oh my God. I don't remember when you're coming back. I'm sorry. I know I've been leaving these messages. Oh, you just got to call me. And I call her. I'm like, oh my God, what? And she goes, we're having twins. I said, we are so. And then we talked it through, and then I got in the truck. We came home. We figured it out, and it worked out. Like they were great.
They seem okay.
I like them now.
They're doing all right.
2 for 1. But I find out so we think now it's going to be like a mid-January. I find out December, like 17th or 18th, I'm leaving on the 24th, 23rd to go to Washington State to wait for 3 or 4 days and link up with this unit that then I'm going over to Iraq with, like the day after Christmas, because that's when the flights can all fit in with the Air Force. So I come home. I get flowers at this stand on the way out of Coronado.
Is Nicole selling them?
Yes. And I bring them home, and Nicole already doesn't really like flowers, like, you know, the whole thing around them. But so I bring in the flowers and I go, hey, I got your flowers. She's like, okay. And I go, I got to tell you something. And her face and her body, and I tell her, and it's like, I have never bought her flowers or any sort of plant of any sort since then, because it is totally associated with like the worst thing ever. Like that makes sense. Because that's it. Like I'm out of here in 2 weeks. Like my bags are already packed. I get the call. No, it's going to be after the new year. No, it's going to be the 27th. No, it's going to be the 6th of January. No, it's going to be the 24th. Right? Like every day I'd go into work and it would be a new day, because you're on AMC, Air Mobility Command schedules, and we're moving a boat. I was going with a unit that was moving a boatload of gear or an airplane load of gear so they were just like, you know what? Forget it. My mom flew out. We did an early Christmas. I actually got Christmas Day on the 26th. I got on the plane. I went to Washington on December 27th or 8th. We flew, and I was in Iraq from that end of December, January, until I came home for the twins' birth, which I missed. And I only came home because Matt's lung collapsed. Went back, finished the deployment, and didn't get home until September, 20-something, 21st or 23rd. And then quickly did all my turnover. We detached and moved across country back to Virginia Beach in October. And then things sort of settled down.
You can take a breath.
Yeah. And that year, I always think about that. That was the beginning of just a for us. until we kind of hit
Like the duration of that year.
no. Like then 2007, then
Right,
08, I
you
was
said
gone a
that,
lot. And then 09 deployed for like, 4 months here, home 2 weeks, deployed again, just like constantly out.
Yeah.
Moved to Hawaii on a whim. And then that's when things were like, time out. Like if this keeps up, we're all done.
Yeah.
Like we were going to be way broke. And then that was it. And then we, made the move, came here to, teach at the academy, and right. Like,
Here we
so
are.
for me, like I think about that and I put it in perspective, but every now and then, and we talked about it, and this is how we're going to do our year in review. Facebook will like send a thing. And I found these old videos of us in that house in Virginia Beach with the twins and Andrew. And this was after being in San Diego, but it was about the same time. It was within a year or two. And we were broken and things were really hard, but there was so much laughter and those guys were so cute and it was so cool. And I remember like just always being tired, always being nauseous, always being angry, right? Like, no, because you're getting an hour or two sleep a night. You've got, 3 kids under the age of 3. I'm working 14, 16-hour days, sometimes not even home for 2-3 weeks. And, right. So it was, and that's the life of, a young junior officer with, kids, and especially in the community I was in. And I think of this year, that when I wrote that one blog post about what the beginning of that felt like, it had remnants of it. It had echoes of kind of like being back on a deployment, because everything was, notification, some sort of emergency, solve the emergency, assess, execute, assess, execute, assess, execute. And there was no sort of like stop and plan and think and reflect. It was just assess, execute, assess, execute, assess, execute. And that's deployment. And then, right, even when emergencies happen or things, it's like, sorry, I know we lost Dave, but we'll mourn for him later. Right. Like, get back in the truck. Like we'll
that's not changing.
Nope. And you accumulate enough of those over the years. Like that's at some point, and this comes back to at some point, trauma, you have 2 paths. Like trauma will crush you and you never recover from it, or you grow out of it and you think and you figure out, no, what's really important to me is this. And so all of the stuff we talk about and figure out, like always having the faith in that people are good. You just haven't figured out the right place, situation, job, responsibility for them. Defer to, it's not the person or the people. It's, you didn't figure out the right question to ask them. You didn't figure out where to put them in the right place, right? Zoom was not bad. Zoom is not a bad, no, that's not true. Zoom is an annoying platform. The people showing up to the Zoom, us coaching it, the thing, right? Like CrossFit hadn't gotten bad. It's just delivering it over a Zoom platform is not sustainable. We figured that out. And so as things change now, if we've learned like it's an option. We can do it again.
It's there if we need it.
Right. But it degrades and is an extremely expensive draw on the emotional collateral that we have deposited in the bank account of this community. And so we did it. We drew on it and people delivered and it was awesome. But the simple fact is there are other more creative ways, perhaps, to do that if we would have to, but we didn't have to, because when we came back out of Zoom, what we learned was we don't want huge classes. We don't want asses in seat or volume. We want quality experiential interaction between us and the people who have chosen to come here. And so everything we did, switched on that perspective. And for me, that's one of the biggest things I've learned is that it's about the experience in the time that you have with the people, both from their end and our end, right? Like if I'm kicking the crap out of myself to coach every single time I'm on the floor, that ain't going to sustain. Right. And 6 months of that, or 60 years of that, 6 years of that, 70, whatever, I'd rather figure out a way for it to sustain. And that for coming out of that quarantine, that first quarantine, I think we cracked the code moving forward.
It took a little tweaking here and there, but I definitely think it's, I guess we all expected like a second wave of this to potentially make its way. And so it's been like on our radar since then. So we knew like if this came about again, here's what we think we'd rather do. But we know that in the short term, we do have this other thing that worked if we need it. It's not our favorite option.
Yeah.
But here we are.
So it's the Nassim Taleb wrote a book, Anti-Fragile. And you got to think, so the restrictions increased starting today at 5:00.
Right.
Well, guess what? The restrictions increased, didn't actually have any impact on us.
Right.
It actually made stuff better.
Yeah.
Right. It kind of clarified like, oh no, we will use now all 211 feet of our space. Right. It actually kind of made it like you can say to somebody like, no, sorry, that class is now full, but I have this other class available for you. And that person like, oh, okay. Yeah. They now have more skin in the game because that's their class.
Their class.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's all kinds of these not psychological, but kind of more behavioral things that by building a system around a very clear anti-fragile, and anti-fragile being the opposite of fragility, not robust, not hardy, but like legitimately gets better as things get harder around it. And the example they use in the book, which I love, is the liquor store. So liquor stores in times of happiness and everything's normal, they do okay. When things get worse, culturally, socially, whatever, economically, liquor stores do better. It's crazy. Like,
well, it's because one of the things what's funny is one of the things that we're allowed to stay open early on too, which
and they're still staying open. And so that's as an example of Hydra is the mythological beast where if you chop off one head, two heads come back.
Hail Hydra.
That's the idea. Well done. I feel like we went from holding on by a thread where, right, like one thing falls apart, the whole, like this whole house of cards, it's not there anymore. Like we actually have some robustness and some anti-fragility built into the system that makes it feel much more, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes it easier for me on a day-to-day basis to remember why we're doing it. And that is to be available and a part of people's lives, if only for an hour, but oftentimes it's even more. And it's freaking like, it's so much more fun coming out of that quarantine. Like that's, to me, that's one of the biggest wins.
I agree. It feels like a different, if I think about what this felt like a year ago compared to now, like obviously the environment outside, like there's some tension there, but from like what we're delivering, I feel so much more confident that like you get yourself into trouble especially as a CrossFit gym owner, and we've seen it where you're chasing numbers. You're chasing like a certain, revenue. You're chasing a certain like X people in the gym will get us here. X people in the gym will get us here. And if you just keep doing well, what like provide the services, that was my elbow.
I know. Providing
the service that you need and like being confident in what it is and just doing the thing that you're good at. Like, I mean, it's why we don't advertise. And people come in all the time. Like Beasts have grown and I've not put out a single ad for Beasts.
Right.
Like our regular membership has grown and we don't put out a single. It's if you do the right things, people will talk about it or people will hear about it or people will try it and think, hey, I'm down with this. And if you take that sort of pressure off yourself from trying to reach a certain number and just do the thing that you're good at to the best of your ability, and you'll be fine.
And I think to play devil's advocate to that, there is worth in that marketing and the funnel construct and right. Like that's sort of the next level of business development, which I'm getting smarter on. And, I'm reading the stuff and listening to the stuff. But if you don't have a foundational system in which those leads or those new people have to land, it's a waste of time. And so that's the part that I think this crisis gave us the opportunity, an excuse. We should have done it anyway, but what do we know? Right? Like that's the part that we have done this year as, a business and as a community to build a place for people to land.
Yeah.
And in the end, it always it's a cliche, but anybody can do CrossFit. We've seen it. We see it. I see it every single day. It just might not be for everybody.
Right.
Like that's the part where, or maybe it's anybody can do it. It might not be for you.
Yeah.
Or our flavor of it might not be for you.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think this year really made me feel okay about, because that's actually come back to like instinctively why we don't do year-long memberships, which any business consultant would tell us we're absolute morons because our business isn't worth anything otherwise.
Tell me something my wife doesn't tell me already.
Right. But I don't like locking someone in.
Yeah.
Right. And so what's the difference between telling you have to sign a 12-month contract or just telling you, hey, every month and then like, well, if you just talk to me, we'll let you out of your contract. Or I just say, well, when your month's up, if you don't tell me, I'm just going to keep renewing it. Right. Like it's the exact same thing. The difference being you are always the athlete, the client, the customer is always in the driver's seat, not me. Yeah. And for me, one of my foundational things, I have like a 3-tier system. Voluntary compliance is rule number 1, right? If somebody keeps showing up, no matter what, they always show up and they always show up. And it's not because I told them to show up. It's because they're choosing to. It's dog training 101. When you work with marine mammals, it's called place, that you take your fist and you put it, and the sea lion would have to put their nose right here and hold. With dogs, it's eyes. So I have the food and I make the dogs look at me in the eyes because it's a dominance thing. They don't want to. Dogs generally don't want to look you in the eye. Mm-hmm. And so making them look you in the eye is you having dominance over them. It starts with the food. They follow the food, and then you make them keep eye and take the food away. Charlie still doesn't quite, I don't think he quite understands what we're doing. I think he's just so excited to get the food. He's like, am I getting that food? Do you have food in your hand? I'm so confused. Where am I looking? I'll just look at you. Okay. And you get the food. But that, right, I just associated people with dogs. But that idea of we open the door, this is the place. Voluntarily, people show up. Yeah. And that's the part of, then second stage, you see improvement. When you see improvement, it is addicting because it's like, oh, I want more of that. I want more of that. I want more of that. Well, to get more of that, you have to keep showing up.
It's like Starbucks and their damn stars.
You seriously. And then the last one is if they start talking about it, and that's where you talked. That's the advertising, right? Like you can't shut your mouth about it. There you go.
Yep.
You hit those 3 marks, and they have a kind of built-in degradation system too. Somebody stops talking about it. Somebody stops improving. Guess what? They're going to stop voluntarily showing up. For us, that's like, oh, what's happening, right? Yep. Like if I see somebody start to plateau a lot, if I see somebody's just like miserable and they don't even really want to mention like, well, I go to a gym, but I don't really want to tell you what it's called. Mm-hmm. Well, what's going on there, right? You can catch them along the way. Yeah. So that, and for us, oftentimes it's that first step. If somebody doesn't show up for a week, I'm like, why are you ducking me, bro?
Where you been, bro?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No,
I'm off on a tangent.
That's where we're at in 2020.
Yeah.
Going into 2021. Flowing. Same shirt, different day. So yeah, well, we thought our little glance, which I think is funny. Like I think it was Paige Brew was telling me what Spotify is better than iTunes because Spotify sends you like here's what your year looked like and all the music you listened to. And she's like, here's like, and it was so funny. I saw someone's like,
I still can't figure out how to make Spotify work.
Just pay for it. Just pay for it.
I'm already paying for Apple.
Right. That's when Paige, she's like, you should get Spotify instead. I was like, why? My whole family uses iTunes. I was like, I don't.
And now you can get the Apple. Now you can get the Apple One. So I've got my storage, my iTunes, and Apple TV.
What's Apple One?
It's my storage. So we get 2 gigabytes between the family.
Oh yeah.
For storage.
Yeah.
So for any like updates and backups and stuff, iTunes and or Apple Music and Apple TV.
Yeah.
All for one between the 4 of us. Andrew has access but he doesn't have it on his phone.
Yeah.
It's like $20 a month.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Done.
Spotify's just a music platform, I believe.
Yeah.
/podcasts. But Anyway,
What you got for me, Spotify?
but I was like, but it was just like, so it's like, it's so cool. It's like the most amazing thing because it like knows. I was like, well, yeah, that's data. Like that's.
But Apple
it
does now too.
learns.
Everyone loved the playlist this morning. I didn't make it. Apple made it for me.
Boom.
Yeah.
So anyway, I also don't really care. I don't care.
What
What did you listen to this year? I don't know.
I don't know. Music.
a lot of Disney.
A lot of Foo Fighters.
So I thought we'll do is over the next like 10 minutes, give or take, we'll just flip through. We'll just like one that sticks out. But we were looking at this.
Yeah, ones that
kind
catch
of
your eye.
Yeah, but like how
Instagram's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. You can go on it. He's awesome at Instagram because
shucks.
though I will tell you, the gymnastics course and NBC maybe they did one of the like where they release them in the right order to make like a mosaic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You need to do that.
Oh, I think it's funny. I think Carrie Ann's done that too.
Yeah.
See, now I need to look at. Oh, so like, would you look at here? Like, it's one big picture.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure that out.
Challenge accepted.
Maybe that's like what a week needs to be look like. But anyway, yeah. So we go through and like I love like how I was doing the workout videos, which was fun for a while. That got old, but they were fun. I was starting to. But those were fun for a bit. But it was just one of those kind of like here's one I was in. I was skiing and I did it out in front of the mountain in like January. You know what I mean? So that was fun. But if we look at people, so there wasn't any much order to this, but we look at people. So I remember she deadlifted. I think that was a PR deadlift. I think that was 3.
We're looking at Amber. By the way.
Sorry. That was a 315-pound deadlift for Amber, which now I think her max, like this was back in
January something.
This was February 3rd.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure she's up to like 350 or something like that.
That's so weird because for 5 months of the year, well, now granted, they did take some barbells and stuff with them, but not a whole lot of plates. For 5 months out of the year, we weren't using barbells, Eric.
We were not.
And we were at home a lot doing dumbbell and body weight and all kinds of stuff.
So starting March 14th, we put out our
14th.
COVID-19 update. Oh, look at those two babies.
Look at that hair. I'd gotten a haircut.
I'm wearing the same shirt.
Are you really? That's gotta go. Oh my God, so am I. That's awesome.
Boom, same shirt.
That's awesome.
Speaking of hair.
So I just gotten a haircut on Thursday or Friday of that week because that was a gymnastics course weekend.
Yep.
And I have not gotten a haircut since. That's
Nope.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's cool. So that's what, so then that Monday we went on to Zoom and we were on Zoom for about 3 months.
3.5, July. It was like July. I mean, we could probably figure it out, but it was like July 18th or July 20 something. It was the third week starting on that Monday we came back. And it was the video. We did Murph at home. I love those pictures of everyone's like setups at Murph.
Yeah, it was so much. That was so cool. That was so cool how people like dove into that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
The Glimpse app that let people, those who played along,
where everyone was tracking.
Everyone ran.
Yep. So here we are at this point now. We're back outside. So I think this was like come June. So this was June 3rd.
June or July 3rd?
So that's June. Yeah, here we are. I mean, this is so here's May. We're outside here. This is end of May. I think we were back in like middle of May.
Oh, but we were still we would do the 5 a.m. and then the 6 a.m. was Zoom.
Right. We had some outside, some online.
Right. Oh my God. That was brutal.
Yeah.
The transition from live to Zoom, back to live that was emotionally and
that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was the back and forth to try to transition to finish this, to run back to the computer.
It was just the difference of the vibe and the energy. And oddly enough, or ironically enough, I don't know the right word. The virtual Zoom classes are actually more draining for me emotionally than the in-person.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired at the end of coaching a class.
Yeah.
I kind of need that recharge, but I'd finish a Zoom class and I mean, I couldn't form a word. I couldn't put things together.
I was
it was
burnt.
brutal.
Yeah, that was hard, but we made it work. We made it work. And I'm trying to figure out when we came back into the gym.
So all that said, right? We went March, April, May. By June, barbell started to show back up, but not a whole lot. We really didn't have pull-ups until like July, August. And how did your folks do yesterday with their 1 rep max back squats and bench presses?
Well, pretty much almost everyone, not that we're putting a huge emphasis on personal records, but just about everyone improved.
Huh.
Personal records.
So weird.
Now I'll give one guy a break. His personal records were insane from when he was in college, and they were lifting 2 times a day. So this is the first time he's actually gotten under a barbell heavy in several years. So we'll give him a break. But yeah, I'm pretty sure almost everyone PR'd, and if they didn't know it, they lifted well. But
so do you mean if I consistently do high intensity functional fitness with an eye towards broad and inclusive modalities, moving large loads, long distances quickly, those loads could be whatever, those distances, as long as they're varied, can be whatever. And as long as my movement is mechanically sound and consistently safe and done at high intensity, that I'll keep getting fitter?
As long as you keep showing up.
Oh, as long as I consistently do that work.
As long as you be consistent.
Interesting. So we were talking about this before. I think in the end, that to me is the biggest takeaway. All this stuff, like you have something, it's a crisis. Look, just consistently do the work. Take time to assess and think about and see if you can learn something from it. But sometimes you just got to put your head down and keep freaking working.
And it's not even about like, and we're saying like show up with the. Do you do every workout RX?
No, actually, today being a perfect example. Are you getting stronger?
Yes. Boom. So like even you get to a point where it's like RX doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do RX to get stronger. Like it's just one of those, just show up,
make it work.
Do the work, do the best that you can. We will help you figure out what that looks like for you that day. Because some days it's like some people that have pull-ups today might be a perfect day to sit down on the ground and do that band and pull.
I think a number that would be kind of cool, and I may look at this, maybe I'll do a better job of doing some data mining, would be the increase in comments and fist bumps and postings on SugarWOD. I'd be willing to bet that we made a huge increase, because as I was thinking about it, that was something that the community did that really moved the needle on people being able to bridge the gap between being physically separated to back to being physically together. With each other. Yeah, SugarWOD as an entity was amazingly useful. Yeah. And it is an awesome platform to do to the point where it is continued to help bridge the gap between like 5 a.m.ers still have never met 5:15ers because we haven't been able to do things like, Friendsgiving or any sort of, weekend things or out of the box or off the creek stuff. Yeah. So this open might be hopefully, things lessen up or restrictions lessen, and we can do part of the open or something of the open, together. Yeah. But that to me, the consistency of people posting, the consistency of them responding to each other, the consistency of showing up, like that changed the game for folks. It was insane. Who did a 30-pound? Marita maybe did a 20-pound PR. People were doing like 20 and 30-pound PRs.
Like these weren't like they were throwing on the change plates. No. Like people, like I said, I'm pretty sure Brian PR'd by like his bench press by like 30, 40 pounds. Right. Which for bench press is insanity.
We never bench press. Right.
We never bench press.
But so that
Brian Lounsbury, you make me so happy.
A lot of body weight stuff, a lot of gymnastics work, people establishing connections with parts of their body that they had forgotten that they had. Don't take that gross.
It wasn't even going there. Wow.
You're off your game.
It's because I haven't eaten.
You're starting to win. We got to wrap this up, folks. He's hungry. The bear needs to eat. That has been for me the biggest takeaway of 2020 and I said to nerd out, CrossFit has, that work power output time graph. And as you chart that, the longer you go, the more your power drops off. But if you chart all the little dots underneath that power curve, and you integrate under that curve, that's your work capacity.
Yeah.
So if I can raise that, whether it's high power output in short or higher power output long, but really the magic is in that middle, 7 to 9 minutes. Like that, if I can bump that up, that's my improved work capacity across broad, time, and modal domains.
Yeah.
Now, add a z-axis. Imagine a line going out, and that's years. And I make this 3-dimensional kind of curve wave thing. And I turn and I look. That's your life. And we talk about it as low horizon, long trajectory, right? Like this really stop thinking I need to be in shape, beach body, 6 weeks. We're talking 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, where at 33, there's no way I could do. I know I have the data from the 2011 Open. I could not even come close to doing the stuff that I can do now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And at 50, I want to keep doing I want to be doing most of what I'm doing now. Maybe some things better, knowing full well that there may be some things that fall off.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of age. No, I think I'll be all right. I look at my dad. He's still got good hair.
Yeah. But here's from your mother's side.
True. Her hair is okay too. But so if you take that,
Shelly, shout out.
she's moving. She's still moving. Burn. That consistency is what makes that shape stay as long as you can, as high as you can, and as robust as it can. Just had an email correspondence with somebody, and she was saying, is it too late? I think it's too late. She's the same age as me. I said real simple. It's a longer conversation when you talk about it, but the truth is it's never too late, ever. Like it is never too late to start.
Literally never too late.
And that's the part that I saw this year. You don't have to say literally. It's redundant.
Yeah.
It's always redundant.
I saw something on that recently.
You never need to use the word literally.
Yeah.
Unless you're like making an allusion to a literary
no.
quote.
So even if you're using it to emphasize, like it's still
no, you're
redundant.
just right. It's just redundant. Yeah.
Because
you're saying it.
Cool. Thank you. I meant to ask you about that because I saw something on that. I think that's what was in my head.
So that was my takeaways. Just when all else fails, just be consistent.
Be consistent.
And you're
courageous.
But you're consistent when you look at your log and it's like, man, I've only come 3 times for the last month. Well, why? What is it? Like, well, I don't know if I can really do it, but all that's just noise.
Yeah.
Get in the car, show up.
Yep.
That's it. You don't have to do anything else except, do the work that we tell you to do.
Right.
But like, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to, we'll scale it for you.
Yeah.
What? Well, I don't have don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
We'll figure it out.
Show up.
Well, I don't have a dumbbell.
You don't need anything.
You should.
Just get here. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Just show up.
All right.
Gratitude.
2020.
Oh, see what he did there?
Thank you, 2020.
That was pretty good.
Be better.
That was pretty good.
That's all I'm gonna say. 2020. Thanks, 2020. See ya.
Mine's these shirts, right? Like
they're lasting.
They made it. They made it almost a full year. You
Right?
like that
How
shirt?
about
I like
this?
this shirt. These are like our favorite shirts. Instagram don't lie.
Instagram don't lie. Cool.
All right. We'll see you in 2021 on the creek. We will see you. I'm not going to edit this. We'll just do it. We'll see you in 2021
on the creek. Wait.
Oh, now
don't take too long to do it.